So this is the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and we've covered it against the iPhone 16 Pro Max, 15 Pro Max, and today we're going to do a speed test comparison against the now 3-year-old iPhone 14 Pro Max. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's go ahead and begin with the boot up test in 3, 2, go. And so what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology, and let's go ahead and begin this video with a boot up test in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now the iPhone 17 Pro Max is rocking the Apple A19 Pro chipset. We are looking at the A16 Bionic chipset in the iPhone 14 Pro Max, so they started going with the Pro moniker, starting with the 15 Pro Max. 14 Pro Max is now 3 years old. So it came out in 2022. It was the first iPhone with dynamic island. For some oddball reason, all my iPhones are booting up first over the newer 17 Pro Max for some reason. But yeah, I still like the space black color. It does look pretty nice, but the 14 Pro Max does win with the boot up. I actually am thinking about taking back my sky blue Air just to get the space black Air, just because, you know, that space black is clean. Let me know your thoughts on the cosmic orange versus the space black down below in the comments. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at the biometrics between both phones. I'm going to go ahead and showcase the face unlock here. So Face ID is housed within the dynamic island on both. One of the main things you really notice between these two is kind of the materials. The stainless steel, to me, definitely feels more premium than the aluminum, but the aluminum is smooth and it feels nice to hold as well. A little bit colder to the touch, but the Face ID really hasn't changed at all. It's exactly the same performance, even with the promotion being on the 14 Pro Max. When you swipe in here on iOS 26, it looks about the same. Now, generally going through iOS 26 on the iPhone 17 Pro Max shows a pretty good performance. There are some animation bugs I've been noticing, and just some weird things that happen, like when you close certain apps or you're going too fast. A couple weird things have been happening, so it's not perfect. Apple's already working on iOS 26.1, but generally it's pretty smooth. And there is this really nice feature now that is inside of these 17 models. Go to accessibility, go to display, and you have the ability to turn off PWM with the display pulse smoothing here. So that's a pretty cool feature for those of you who didn't want to buy these new iPhones because of PWM. Now over here for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I keep saying 17 because it's like the latest phone. But if we scroll through here, you're not going to notice anything substantially different. As we go through the applications, it's kind of the same thing. And we also have those same animation bugs here and there on this one as well. So no major difference. As I bounce through here on Control Center, this also looks about the same. So no substantial changes, I think, if you're coming from a 14 Pro Max when it comes to generally operating the phone. That part's going to feel about the same. And here we are at the app test, and you could see everything is closed out on both. Let's go into calendar, and that was faster on the left. We'll go into clock, about the same. And of course, both of them do have the same liquid glass options. So if we go here, everything the same. We'll go into calculator. A little bit faster there for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. We'll go in App Store. Faster on the left. And if we go to games, faster on the left by a second. Go to arcade, faster on the left by a second. So those milliseconds might add up. You'll see quicker on the left. Then comes the 14 Pro Max. Gemini. That was a little bit faster on the iPhone on the left. We'll go into Grok. That's the 17 Pro Max by a little bit. We'll go into Copilot. That's the 17 Pro Max again. So not substantial, pretty much the same there on YouTube. But I do think that, let's go to sports. I do think that if we scroll through, everything looks pretty smooth. I do think that these little microseconds might add up as you're heavy using it. Plus the thermal management, it'll feel like more of a beast than the iPhone 14 Pro Max ever did. And so for that reason, you might be ready to upgrade. Your battery got a little bit lower and you want a more beastly version of the phone. You already had enjoyed your 14 Pro Max. The 17 Pro Max is a natural progression. It's a nice upgrade for you. You can see my latest post on the pumpkin iPhone here, fall vibes. Let's go ahead and swipe up out of here. We'll go into Groupon. And that was much faster on the left. And so I think this is the first test where I'm seeing majority of the apps launch a little bit quicker on the 17 Pro Max. 16 Pro Max wasn't substantially different. This one isn't, I wouldn't call this one substantial either, but it is more noticeable than like 15 Pro Max, 16 Pro Max. So maybe when we start getting to these 3 to 4 year old phones, this is where the upgrades will show a little bit more for the average user. And see, those load times might not make a difference generally, but when you are like in a pinch and you're hopping between applications, emergency situations, productivity situations where you're trying to get something done quickly, all those microseconds add up to make a phone just feel more blazing fast. And that's where the iPhone 17 Pro Max really shines. Let's go over here. And also during your, your gaming sessions, you want extended performance and you don't want a lot of throttling, or you don't want no throttling at all. That's going to be much better on the 17 Pro Max. And I feel like a broken record player because I say this almost every year, but that is kind of where every year you get an upgrade. You get an upgrade in the areas of performance where you would really push that phone to its absolute limits. So if we go ahead and play a casual game that's not going to make either sweat, that animation looked a little bit weird coming out of the, oh, this game mode's on. So let's go ahead and turn off the game mode here and we'll relaunch these because that wasn't fair. Game mode was on over there. We'll go into Free Fire one more time. Game mode should be off on both now. And you'll see the 17 Pro Max in the lead and by a substantial margin. So yeah, we're going to have to give this one tap to begin. We'll have to give that one to, that one went into it, but we had to give that one substantially to the 17 Pro Max. Well, game mode came back on, I guess, for this game. I'm just going to leave it on for this game. And we'll go over here. You'll see it was quicker over here. It might go in on this phone as it was previously logged in first, but it was ready to launch first on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I was just previously logged in on the 14 Pro Max first. So 17 Pro Max in the lead again on PUBG. Checking for an update, and we do see that we're ready to hit the guest section. And it looks like PUBG is going to win there on the left. So yeah, when you start getting into the more heavier games, it is noticeable. This is going to be faster for the 14 Pro Max, mostly due to no updates yet to optimize for this yet. You'll see 3.46 gigahertz. This is almost a whole gigahertz higher clock speed and double the RAM. 12 gigabytes of RAM is the new 8 gigabytes of RAM in 2025. 16 gigabytes would be a fancier option. But you also need a good CPU. You can't just put 16 gig of RAM and have a cheapy CPU. You need strong CPU and strong RAM and strong GPU to give a great performance. And I think the Apple 17s are nailing that, except for the base model having 8, but anything 17 Air, Pro, Pro Max, those 12 gigs of RAM is really the sweet spot. 17 is still really good, but it's still 8 gigs of RAM. So if you're pushing the phone, you still want to go up in tier. But wrapping it up here, I feel like all the base applications, your day-to-day performance, not a substantial change if you're coming from a 14 Pro Max. I do think, though, that if you're a heavy user, you're going to be hitting that battery hard. You're going to be pushing this phone productivity-wise. You're just going to have a speedier experience, more efficient day-to-day experience with the new iPhone. So 17 Pro Max to me would be a good upgrade, even in just the speed area, not just the other obvious ones like camera, bigger screen, longer battery, but just pure performance. It would be noticeable. Let's go ahead and run some RAM management now. But while it is noticeable, that doesn't mean that the 14 Pro Max is a slow phone. It's absolutely not, by no means. It's still good to rock another year or two easily if you want to hold on. There's no issue with that. It got 26. It runs fine. So it's not like the end of the road when I say those things. It's more like the iPhone 17 Pro Max. If you are in the market to upgrade, just expect that you will get your money's worth with a performance boost. Let's go over here to the 14 Pro Max. And one of the weird things I noticed the most is the bezels. Now, I always thought the bezels were already thin starting on some of these phones here, but they really got better starting with the 15 Pro Max. Race the Sun with a reload, Destiny Rising reconnecting, Subway Surfers, so they shut down a couple applications in the back. So Dead Trigger 2. So the gaming was shut down on the 6 gigs of RAM phone. So if you do want better RAM management, you are flipping between a lot of apps. Your phone is your main mobile computer. You don't always use a laptop or computer, and you just need the fastest, absolute beastliest phone. I don't know how many people that is, but 17 Pro Max will definitely be worthy option for you there. And our final Geekbench 6 scores are in, and you could see over 1,000 points better for the iPhone 17 Pro Max and around 3,000 points better on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So those are pretty respectable scores. Let's go ahead now and run a wildlife extreme test, and we'll just see if the graphics are much better on the 17 Pro Max or how they do in this test. I'll be back when the results are in. And our wildlife extreme scores also show double the performance here at 34 FPS versus 16. But here's what is interesting though. If you take a look at the graph, look at this area right here where the iPhone 17 Pro Max was able to sustain that performance much longer, one slight dip. Over here, it was like all over the place. So gaming will be far worse for the 14 Pro Max if the title does demand a little bit more power from the device. If it's very well optimized, a lot of games will play fine. They are still mobile games after all. But you'll see right here, score versus other devices, 95% better than the market, 51%. Still being better than half the market at 3 years old is pretty nice for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, though I do have to say that. Now, they've also been improving the overall performance of the network performance. So we're going to go ahead and start with the iPhone 17 Pro Max, see what we do get, and then we'll run it here for the iPhone 14 Pro Max. So I just wanted to make sure it's on the same server, and I've been getting about the same thing every day here, 400 or so on the download. And then on the upload, we are seeing 36, 37 down. And so there you go. Now let's go ahead and see what we get for this one. I haven't seen one older iPhone yet to even keep at the same pace as the 17 Pro Max. So it's actually pulling in better download speeds with its newer Wi-Fi standards. It also does better with actual reception strength and 5G performance. So your phone will literally be faster just because of the better network technology that is built into the iPhone 17 Pro Max. And so you can see basically doubling it on both download and upload with the same server. So that's a good sign for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up with a quick camera launch. We got the Sage Green 17 behind us here, and we'll go ahead and hit camera. And you'll see no substantial difference there. We'll do it again. Camera, and not a big deal of a difference. When zooming, both of them are very smooth. And this is an area you can always count on your iPhone. I don't care if it's a few years old or not. The cameras hold their own. They stay fine. But 15 times zoom goes all the way up to 40. So it is a huge jump there. Also on the front-facing camera, you have your standard over here. But on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, you can click this thing and go super wide. You can't do that for the 14 Pro Max. So that is a big upgrade as well. Final verdict is in. The 17 Pro Max is nearly doubling it in most areas. It does give you double the RAM, double the performance, double the GPU performance. It is a worthy upgrade over the 14 Pro Max. But whether it's worth it to you is definitely another question altogether. That's going to depend on your circumstances. It's going to depend on what you want to do going forward. If you're waiting for iPhone Fold, you know, the folding iPhone that's going to be coming next year, according to reports. It really comes down to what you want to do. And there are other areas to talk about. So stay subscribed and stay tuned for my Should You Upgrade video between these two. We're doing speed tests first, and then we're going to get on with our Should You Upgrade series coming soon. So thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you on the next episode. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.